With the stroke of a pen, Trump's trying to undo everything we've worked so hard for. But as Indigenous people, our existence is our resistance. We protect Mother Earth and the water because it's who we are and we have no other choice. I'm facing 7 years in prison, yet I remain dedicated to peace and prayer. Pray with us.
One family. If we don't stand, who will? On earth. The wind comes in four corners, four directions, four colors. And death rides on four horsemen. A black snake with some black tank. How much money do these companies need to make? They could drop their product, but they wanna save a buck. Already extracted billions, when is enough? I used to be in the oil fields, getting paid, but I quit, cause oil water I can't drink. Look down and see Kamimi Ladai in the mud. I looked up and told myself that enough's enough. Money does not own my soul, living comfortable. It's not in my plans, my hands in the sand. Some things worth more than gold. Some things they can't be sold. Some things can't be replaced. She is your mother, the fresh water is her veins. What is going on? Have we all lost our minds? Every human needs clean water to survive.
We're sorry. Your call cannot be called.
Morton County Sheriff's Department.
Hi, I need to report an assault.
Okay, where did it occur at?
Standing Rock. There are innocent, unarmed people being attacked with water and militia-style police firing at point-blank range with high-powered mace on unarmed people. Who protects the people?
Ma'am, yeah, if there's police there, then it has
The police are the ones attacking innocent, unarmed people. So what do we do to stop the police literally hitting people at point-blank range in the face? People can lose eyes. People are going to get hypothermia. People could die. We have elders here. We have children here. We have all ages here. Nobody is armed except for the police. Who protects the people from the police?
Well, I guess if you want to put it up the chain of command, the next person to talk to would be the governor's office.
Love is the strongest, this path is the hardest. But if we were strong enough to do it, we wouldn't see it. Our prayers would not be needed. This movement's very needed. Indigenous wisdom unheeded and sacred things depleted. I'm Mexicano, Malajota, and I'm white too. I'm mixed with everyone, so part of me's just like you. Every group of human beings shares the same stars. And if the earth is not your mother, are you from Mars?
Yeah. So we're gonna have her on, Cheyenne Williams on in the second half, and our first guest is gonna be Jason Corwin. So I think I just did a couple minutes without even the fucking turning the mics on, but it's all right. We're still learning. I got him on now. That's just the intro. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get Jason on the phone, but before we talk to him, I'm gonna play a video from Seneca Nation Media Department, and this one is called "Defend Ohio."
We're here for one purpose, and that's to make our voice heard.
This municipal authority is planning to partner with Epiphany Allegheny to construct a fracking wastewater treatment plant. Fracking is a very volatile and dangerous industry that uses a whole lot of chemicals to inject into the ground, and when they bring that wastewater back up, that produced water they call it, it's picked up a lot of radiation. The Marcellus Shale, which is underneath New York, Pennsylvania, and parts of Ohio and West Virginia, is super high concentrations of radium. So when this stuff is coming back up, it is radioactive, and that's what we're here concerned about.
Pennsylvania okayed fracking, that's fine if you can keep the fracking material in Pennsylvania. We don't live in New York State. We live along the Ohio, the Allegheny territory. And the people that are here before you tonight are just here to tell you, we don't want to see this pollution occur.
I come from a family of hunters and fishermen. We have a Fish and Wildlife Department within our Seneca Nation that just created a new walleye fish hatchery that is totally off the grid. We're here to protect our waters. My husband supplies fish to our elders and many community members. And as a mother and a grandmother and a fierce protector of our river and our lands, I ask you to really consider this project and to stop it. Yelling.
We're here to defend the Ohio.
It's where everything gets its life from. Supported the people for hundreds and hundreds of years.
I don't know, I love fishing. We always use the land. It's right in our backyard, so it's got to be taken care of.
It shouldn't even be a question at this point with the amount of renewable energies that are available to continue to pander to the fear and interests of the fossil oil industries.
It's time that we stand up and we protect what we have right now for the future generation.
The fact that the Seneca Nation is coming out supporting us in this is an honor.
I'm here to support the Seneca Nation. I'm a member, Wolf Clan. The damage that this potential fracking can do is forever. We got to stop it. I don't think there's a choice. We have to somehow stop this from happening.
Why should they be able to poison people and kill people and get away with it?
You know, I'm hopeful they'll make a right decision, but this is a textbook case of what happens in cases of sacrifice areas, where it's small towns like this that have this unilateral ability to make a decision, and they make a poor decision, and it affects a lot of people.
I think the turnout tells you that more people are against it, a lot more, than are for it.
I think we had a good first meeting. We got many, many more to go. I hope everybody keeps up the enthusiasm. I invite everybody else to join us. Now what?
What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, we got Jason Corwin on the line. What's up, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
All right, we just
appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you. You know, I wanted to have you for a while. I got B. Rob in studio with me.
Yeah, what's up, Jason?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Sounds like you got the door open.
Right on.
we just watched it. What?
Would you say there's with you? I was just getting in the car, turning it on.
B. Rob.
All right.
B-Rob, rap artist from Cattaraugus. You can check him out on SoundCloud.
All right, will do. Always like to check the new up-and-coming artists.
Yeah, just small time right now.
We just
They got to start somewhere.
We just watched your the video from the Seneca Media and Communications Center YouTube. Defending
The
Defending
trailer for Defending Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just getting ready to drop the full version onto YouTube tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yep.
that little trailer I thought was pretty well put together.
Yeah, that was the work of Maurice John Jr.
Oh, okay.
On our team. Yeah, but a couple of people shot the footage, and then he edited that trailer together, and then he put together the full documentary. It's about 15 minutes, and that'll be it's getting uploaded to YouTube tonight, and it'll be posted to our page first thing tomorrow morning.
Awesome, man. Can't wait to check it out. I'll definitely share a link to it, man.
Cool.
I think you guys are doing a lot of good work now with the Seneca Nation Media Department.
Yeah, we've got a great job. We've got a lot of good people on our team, real talented, a lot of experience, a lot of different areas, from photography to audio to animation. We've got people working embedded in the language departments. We've got the radio station, WGWE, made a big comeback in the last 2 years since it became affiliated with us. So,
right.
We're real happy with how things are going, and it's enjoyable work. We get to show our community in a positive light. Highlight the good things that are going on, and at a time when most of the news that comes through our Facebook feeds or through CNN or whatever is not so great.
Yeah, absolutely. The video Defending Ohio, what is that about?
So basically the summary is, we had this issue come up in January where some of us found out that they're proposing to put a fracking wastewater treatment plant right at the headwaters of the Allegheny River of Ohio.
Right.
And, the community kind of snapped to action. The nation jumped into action on the issue and raised enough questions and concerns in opposition to it that, eventually the project was dropped. But, the work carries on to protect the water because there's still other proposals out there for fracking wastewater storage facilities.
Right.
The JKLM, that was the company whose waste was behind this Epiphany project that was proposed in Coudersport, PA, and what the Defending Ohio documentary focuses on. And so JKLM Energy is owned by Kerry Pagula, the same guy that owns the Bills, the Sabres, and the Bandits.
Right. Pretty much owns Buffalo.
So his company, he had another company before it called East Resources. They racked up some of the biggest amount of violations in Pennsylvania for fracking and, for spills and unauthorized discharges, all that kind of stuff. And his company wants to start storing large amounts of fracking waste along various tributaries of the river. So, our group still meets regularly, and we stay vigilant on these issues.
Yeah, it's definitely an ongoing issue. I mean, as long as there's, money to be made, people will try to, do this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I think, too, that it's good that we're kind of exploring different types of energy. The Seneca Nation is doing solar energy and wind energy.
Oh, no doubt. I've been a big proponent of renewable energy for for a long time now. I've been powering my place with 100% solar panels since 2002.
Nice.
Right on.
And so I'm all about that. It's been a long time coming for renewable energy to get to the Seneca Nation, but it's happening and it's good. And then I'd like to see even more people do it on the residential level and get themselves off grid.
Right. You had the Seneca Nation or the media department produced another movie, right, as well for documenting your guys' trip to Standing Rock.
Yeah, so we had the world premiere at Seneca Iroquois National Museum around Earth Day back in April of denying access.
Yeah.
No dapple to no napple.
Okay.
And a lot of people knew what no dapple was. Not as many people knew what no napple was, which was the Northern Access Pipeline,
right?
Which was something National Fuel was pushing for to bring fracked gas from Pennsylvania up by Tuscarora and then export it to Canada.
Oh shit!
So the movie focuses on a number of trips that we took to Standing Rock between October and December of 2016, and then also documents the efforts that our people made when they returned home and saw that there was this pipeline issue right in our own backyard.
Yeah.
With the Northern Access Pipeline.
How long were you guys at Standing Rock?
So me and Tammy Watt, we went out for about a week at the end of October, and it just happened to be the time when everything was coming to a head. There was a main camp called Ocheti Shakowin.
Right.
Actually, the very first camp was Sacred Stone, which was on the reservation side of the Cannonball River, and then more and more people started showing up, and so then they spilled over across the river onto land that the Army Corps of Engineers claims as theirs, but is land that was supposed to be guaranteed to the Great Sioux Nation, as they called it in the treaty back then, the 1851 Fort Laramie Treaty.
Yeah.
Supposed to guarantee all that land to them. So it was a reclamation of that land, and that was the big, sometimes people called it the main camp. And then in October, as the pipeline work was getting closer and closer to the Missouri River and closer to Standing Rock, the camp, some people from the camp built another camp directly in the path of the pipeline, which was like maybe 3/4 of a mile north from the main camp. And so we just happened to get there as all that came to a head, and there was a big police attack on October 27th.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was the shot heard around the world thanks to social media, and then we had plane tickets because we were just we thought go to document what was going on, and we weren't expecting that much action to happen like it did. So as soon as we got back, I was like, I need to get back there ASAP, and I rallied up some friends and some supplies real quick, and then I rolled back out there, and I ended up making 4 trips total, each about a week long. And so that's the content for the good first half of the movie.
Yeah, I seen some of the movie when you screened it here in Cattaraugus, and I knew how big it was, kind of, but I never really got a sense until I seen the movie, and you can see how many people are there and how big the camps were.
Yeah, it was kind of mind blowing to experience it in person, because I'd been hearing about it, for months on social media, and, then to actually get there in person and feel the energy that was there, it was very powerful. It was definitely a special moment in our history as Indigenous people, to come together like that and to join together with non-native environmentalists and social justice oriented people, and just this mass movement. And, unfortunately, while it wasn't successful in stopping that pipeline, it did generate a whole lot of awareness and energy that is carried on to a lot of other pipeline fights that are taking place, against the Trans Mountain pipeline in Canada, and the Bayou Bridge pipeline down in Louisiana. That's like the last leg of connecting to the Dakota Access to bring that oil down to the Gulf of Mexico. So Line 3 in Minnesota. There's a lot of places where people are standing up and saying we got to have a different kind of energy future. The fossil fuel industry is dead, and it's only being propped up by governments like the United States and Saudi Arabia and Russia and other big energy producing countries, because the powerful have that money invested in these industries. But you look at the economics of fracking, and the whole industry has been losing billions of dollars. They're not making any money off this, really. It's just a ton of speculation. It's a big bubble, and it can't last. And already there's solar and wind and improved battery technologies is already surpassing this idea of natural gas being a bridge to a renewable energy future.
Yeah.
It's already becoming, solar and wind is becoming cheaper and more effective than gas.
Yeah, definitely, man. So what are you guys gonna do next with this movie? You gonna take it to film festivals?
Yeah, we've just been doing some final editing of it based on the feedback we've been getting from the few community screenings that we've been doing, and we showed it at one college for their Earth Day festivities. So based on that feedback, been tightening it up. Then once we have that final edit, which should be within the next couple of weeks, then we're going to blast it out there to the film festival circuit, every possible native film festival, any of the other, big festivals in LA, New York, Chicago, wherever.
Yeah, man. It's definitely one thing too that I took away from, I just seen a few minutes of it, really, like the first half maybe, but it was very emotional. Like, you captured the emotion of a lot of the people there at Standing Rock.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that, because that was, as the person who did the editing for the piece, that was my goal with the movie. Was I watched all the other documentaries on Standing Rock, and they all told different aspects of the story in different ways, and that was good. And I wanted viewers to get a little bit more of that. It wasn't just the actions and the confrontations with the cops and stuff like that. There was also a whole energy within the camp.
Yeah, absolutely.
The pride of it, it was like the 70s and AIM all over again. The pride in being native, and kids just riding around on dirt bikes, playing around and singing their songs, and just a place where they could be native all day long, and it was all good. And so it was a very special, and it touched people's spirits in a lot of different ways. So, that I knew I couldn't convey all of that, you know, because only being there in person could you get that full picture.
Right.
But you know, I wanted the movie to give people as good as possible a glimpse of that power that we all felt there in you know, the times when there was, you know, strong unity, things like that.
Yeah, man. Definitely. I can't wait for that to come out, you know, like maybe release like DVDs or something after.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're going to get it out there to make it available to the schools and everywhere possible in the long run. It just with some of the film festivals, they like to sort of be exclusive and be like, oh, we're the New York City premiere and we're the this premiere.
Right.
So you kind of, I want to find out all the details on that before we put it out there, you know, like a online streaming version or something like that available. But it's definitely, the goal is to, you know, we're not trying to make money on it. We just want to get it out there. And,
right.
You know, I want to see, you know, the our whole team in Seneca Media and Communications get props for it. Because, you know, while I did a lot of the shooting and I did the editing, a whole lot of other people on our team contributed some very critical elements. You know, Ashley Henhawk, she did the opening motion graphics that starts off the movie. And, you know, Tammy Watt took tons of amazing still photos while we were there and provided the narration. And when there was that rally in D.C. for Standing Rock called Native Nations Rise, some of our other staff, you know, recorded parts of that. So, you know, it was a team effort in bringing it together, and I just, you know, want the opportunity now to put us out there on the world scene, so to speak, through these film festivals.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, it's a good movie. It definitely shows. The quality comes out, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for calling in, man. You're gonna have to call in again. We can talk about, you know, we could do a whole show together.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about anything, you know, whether it's about the water and the river or, you know, renewable energy. I think that's a hot topic for our communities right now because, you know, we're seeing the impacts of our dependence on fossil fuels,
right.
And to the point that, you know, that the nation signed an agreement to replace, you know, that the RM32 gas line that crosses the creek.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of concerns in the community about the safety of that. And, you know, given National Fuel's dirty dealings with the nation in the past, you know, people are very uneasy about that. And so I think hopefully that this awareness of these problems gets people thinking more about, well, what are the alternatives? And so I'd be happy to, you know, talk a whole show about DIY renewable energy because it doesn't have to be expensive and you can do it yourself. I had no electrical background or anything. I just got some books and some references, and I studied for a year and bought different parts from paycheck to paycheck and then, you know, put it together. And eventually at the end of the day, I had something and I never had a utility bill again after that.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in. People can check out Defending Ohio on the Seneca Media Communications YouTube.
Yep.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for
please
coming.
look us up. Yeah, appreciate the time.
All right, Skunga.
No way. Don't get.
Yeah, that was Jason Corwin, man. He's a good guy. I actually met him. I met him at it was a rally on the Peace Bridge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was a lot of good stuff there. I mean, I was just kind of like sitting back, and
Yeah,
just kind
yeah,
of taking it all
right.
in. But like he said, there is, you know, just bringing it to people's awareness and.
Yeah, he definitely knows the shit.
Yeah. Like a lot of that stuff was new information to me, and that's kind of
Yeah.
just kind of sitting there, just kind of taking
Right,
it all
right.
in. I was like, "No shit, really? Okay, yeah."
All right, coming up next, we got Cheyenne Williams from Six Nations. She's an organizer. for justice for Jonathan Stiers, who was pretty much murdered. I mean, I'll have her tell the story, but a guy shot him and was found. He didn't get like any charges at all. So I'm gonna play a video of her speaking, but before that, I'm gonna play a video of Ava Hill, a Six Nations chief. These are both at the same rally. There was a rally on July 1st for this. So, all right, check out the videos.
And my heart was with them, and I was very heartbroken that I couldn't be with them to support them. But I support them all the time, and I'm going to keep pushing. And one of the things we did when we were at the Chiefs conferences, we had over 100 chiefs there, and we reached out to them. And we made a passion plea, and we said the injustice to our people in this country is continuing, and what are we going to do about it? I said, what are we going to do about it as chiefs? So I challenged them to rise up. Let's all come together and figure out what we're going to do about this, because our people are waiting. This is a good demonstration of that. And so we are going to come together. We know that when the Bushi case happened, and the Prime Minister said, we have to do better. I said, well, what's been better since then? Not a damn thing. I just want to let you know, we also had national chief candidates there who are willing to step up and come to the plate. And I've said that racism has reared its ugly head in this country again. People are saying it's racism because Peter Kill shot and killed John. The racism is in the courthouse. The racism is in the justice system. I reached out to the Prime Minister's office, and I'm asking for a call with him. I haven't got a response yet, but I'm going to keep pushing. I'm reaching out to get a meeting with the Attorney General, Jody Wilson-Raybould. Yesterday I was here, or Friday, whenever those guys got sworn in, and I approached the new Attorney General and I said, I need a meeting with you. So I'm going to keep pushing that. The chiefs are going to keep pushing that, because our people are afraid. Our young people are afraid to go out anymore, because it seems like it's okay for non-natives to shoot Indians and get away with it. That's not how we should be living. You are the first peoples in this land, and I tell everybody, why don't you learn about us? We've got a proud history, a proud culture, and we're a proud people. They need to understand that, and they need so. I'm glad you guys are here. It's a peaceful, and we got to keep it up. And I thank you for making this a grassroots movement. I'm going to be there pushing this from where I can in the political connections I got in both governments, but also with the chiefs and the chiefs across the country. We've got a National Assembly coming up in 3 weeks, and we're going to push it there. I've also reached out to Jade Tutusis, who's at Colton Bushi's sister. I'll be talking to her later today or tomorrow, because I think we need to bring all these families together, and we need to go and meet with Jody Wilson-Raybould and start working on how do we improve this justice system. Now, we have to come up with the answers, and I challenge you, particularly the organizers. What do you want to see done to change the justice system? We have to come up with the solutions. We need to tell them what we want. No more are we asking them for anything. We need to tell them, so start thinking about what those solutions will be. And the chiefs and myself and others will carry those forwards to the politicians so that we can make those legislative changes and so that we can help to improve the justice system. So I ask you to come up with those ideas and let us know. Let's work together on this. Let's be positive, and let's hope that we can make changes that are going to make difference for not only us here, but for those young people that are coming behind us. Yawa, thank you very much. And I just, when we were at the All Ontario Chiefs Conference, as I said, we had
For Canadians, it's 151 years of being proud Canadian. But for us, it's 151 years of murder and massacre and genocide and assimilation, and the things that happened in our past is not, 100 years ago. The last residential school closed in 1996. I was 10 when that last school closed. I could have went to that school. Today, for us, is not a day of celebration. It's a day of mourning. It's a day of mourning all of those lives that we've lost without justice. It's a day of mourning all of those policies and those laws and the systemic racism that we have faced for 151 years. A lot of people don't know that in Canada, you couldn't file a human rights claim until 2008 if you were Native. A lot of people don't understand why they're still outraged. They don't understand that we've dealt with this generational trauma, we call it, and we're still dealing with those cycles of abuse. I know people who went to residential school in Brantford. I know people that escaped residential school in Brantford. I've been to the residential school in Brantford when I was a kid to do tours and stuff like that. They never told us the things that happened in those schools. They never told us about the abuses that occurred. They never told us why, you know, there's people who can't show love to their kids because they were never shown love when they were kids. And I think there needs to be a major reform in Canada. Canada needs to start telling the true history of this country. They need to start telling the true history of our people, and they need to start seeing us as equal partners. We are the original people. We fought for this country originally, and we continue to fight today.
That was Cheyenne Williams from Six Nations. She's gonna call in a little bit. She's in that clip. She was talking about the residential schools, and there's one right here in Cattaraugus and the Thomas Indian School.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, I just blanked for a second. But yeah, the Thomas Indian School is. There's a documentary about it. There's like a show a video you can watch on YouTube. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think I came across it in the past.
Yeah, I know we talked about it here before.
Yeah.
Because there's one, I think in Akwesasne, Brantford, where they're talking about Six Nations.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, man, a lot of that shit did affect, you know, the generations. They call it historical trauma.
Yeah.
Because it, you know, in like 1 or 2 generations, we pretty much almost lost our language.
Right. Yeah, and then, you know, like she said, you know, it's really not that long ago. Like she said, what, the last one closed in like 1996?
Yeah, yeah.
And then just thinking like all this stuff just happened in the course of, you know, less than 100 years ago.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. This shit was going on in, the 90s, the 80s,
mm-hmm.
which compared to like, you know, you say black people were free. You know, they were freed. They were allowed to do whatever they want, but, you know, natives were still going to these residential schools as late as 1996, which, you know, not all that long ago. That's when Pokemon came out. That's what I was doing. But, yeah, man, it's fucked up. I don't have anyone in my family that went, though. No. I don't think.
Yeah, I think my grandparents may have attended a few, or not a few, but, you know, a few of my grandparents have. And then they've shared stories. And then I believe, one was, the Thomas Indian School.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Cheyenne is going to call in and talk about Jonathan Stiers, which I mentioned earlier. You know, there's really no justice for people that commit crimes against natives.
Yeah.
Especially, I think especially in Canada, because you know, it's been going on for a long time, like the missing and murdered Indigenous women.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, man. There was a serial killer in I think it was like Vancouver or something,
mm-hmm.
and he was killing all these women, all these prostitutes, native prostitutes.
Yeah.
And so, like, in the eyes of the police, you know, not only were they second-class citizens, they were sex workers, but they were also natives, which is, like, you know, even lower than that. But, you know, a lot's changed since then. A lot has changed in, like, the past 10, 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, there's still, just like, you know, I hate to make comparisons to, you know, black people all the time, but black people in America are now, you know, rising up against cops, cops or people that kill black people and get away with it.
Yeah, I remember me and the wife were talking about like how they diversify them and class them as African Americans.
Yeah,
but like it's not like all black people come from Africa.
Right.
Like people come from like the Jamaican islands and
Right, exactly.
Other parts of the world.
South Africa.
Yeah,
they get pretty dark. Yeah,
and then like even me like working off territory, I've had like a couple black people actually just kind of like ask me about my culture and you know like what my beliefs are and where do you guys like how do you believe in like, I don't want to say God but the creator and how we came to be, and so I share with them like my version of the creation story, how it was told to me, and they kind of really gave me their attention and kind of took heed to it, and they really liked what I had to say, and it was just kind of surprising to me, I guess, just that they were so interested because not a lot of them have like roots like that, I guess, you know what I mean? Like they don't have like slave ancestors and shit like that. Yeah, it's like they don't really know where they come from,
Right.
And at least we have that.
Yeah, and I heard that argument before, and it's definitely a valid argument. But another thing too that I always say is, black people have leaders. They have Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
They have Barack Obama.
Yeah.
They have these people that they can look to. Whereas natives, we don't really have a person like that. There's like chiefs, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
War Chief, Geronimo, Red Cloud.
Yeah.
But there's no person modern day for us to look up to as a champion of native rights. Like Martin Luther King, he did so much for black people in the South with their civil rights, but we don't have anybody like that for us.
Yeah. Yeah, you make a good point.
Yeah, I think that's actually, I heard that from John Kane, actually, though. Shout out John Kane.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely true. There's like no one, for us to look up to.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it makes it a little harder, but it's a whole different thing. We're fighting a whole different battle than black people.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
So yeah, we're just chilling out, waiting right now. Hopefully she calls in. I mean, if not, whatever, we could just do the show anyway. But if she does call in, I'll hook her up real quick and we can talk about it.
Right.
Usually we go till about 9, but fuck it. If we have to go longer, I mean, I'm down for going longer. You don't have to. If you gotta get out of here at 9 or whatever.
Yeah, it's no trouble.
Because I really want to talk to her because I want to get this message out there.
I know. Yeah, I was really trying to tune into your show last week, and then
oh man,
I hate that. Hard,
I had the settings wrong. Like I had the settings set for videos because I was recording because I was fucking around with recording.
Yeah.
And there's like this automatic settings, like it tests everything and makes your settings optimal. And I had it for recording when I should have had it for streaming.
Oh,
because like the audio was so many bits or whatever.
Yeah,
like it was way too much for the stream. But I got it now, and I'm also recording this at the same time. So if anything goes wrong, I could just take the audio or the video or whatever from here.
Got it.
Yeah, I actually did plan this out today. Like I got like a sweet layout. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you watch the video later, you can check it out.
All right, yeah. Like I don't know if it's anything similar to like last week. I noticed how you had it kind of laid out like that.
It's different. Yeah, it's different than that. Yeah, it's definitely different. I got, like I said, we're doing a 2-camera setup now.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was able to set that up. The only thing is though, the camera that I'm using is on my laptop, and that's like a little bit less quality.
Oh, okay.
Like your camera's way better, dude. But I do want to get another camera. I think we could hook up as many. Like Cody wanted to come. Cody actually came last week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But he wants to like be in the background. He wants to like write me notes. Like he doesn't want to be on camera or mic.
I was wondering that because I was watching last week's show.
Yeah.
I didn't see him, and then I remember you telling me that you got Cody here, and then I was just like, where is he?
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna have him on. I want to start doing like comedy videos. I think. Remember I told you before about Fat Camp?
Yeah.
I think I'm actually gonna make it into like Fat Camp comedy.
Okay.
So that way I can make videos. Like I thought about like what the fuck I'm gonna do. I don't know. Probably just like I could eat like hot sauce, like hot shit, you know, on video just for, you know, like I had this video, you know, Chops, right? Kiroy?
Yeah.
His nickname is Chops. So I was gonna start chopping with Chops, where he like I can get samurai swords. Like I have a bunch of different axes. I got knives.
Oh, shit,
I got machetes. You know, yo, you got all that shit too. So I figured we could like just fucking get like water bottles or like a bottle of pop, bottle of soda, shake it up, put it down, and then have him fucking slice it with like a samurai sword, and it fucking explodes everywhere.
Damn, you should try to invest in one of those slow-mo cameras where they capture like so
yeah,
many
yeah,
frames per second. That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, dude, definitely. So I want to do that again, but he's kind of hesitant because he seen this video where this other dude was like almost doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we can't do it. And I was like, oh, we just gotta do it differently. That's all.
Just do it better.
And I was thinking like I was trying to tell Cody too, like we could get head cheese. You know what head cheese is? Like
no.
they take a pig's head, and boil it, and then all the shit that comes off of it, they compress it together, like because there's like gelatin and shit in the head, so it forms like almost like a loaf.
Yeah.
Like similar to like kind of like bologna, like pickle loaf or something like that.
Okay.
But it's like a jelly kind of thing of everything off the head of the pig. And could eat that. Like that shit is nasty.
Okay, I was gonna say, what do they use it for?
Yeah, they eat it. People eat it.
Damn.
Like people enjoy it. It's big in the South, I guess.
No shit.
Just like pig's feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that would be nasty. That's nasty.
Yeah, that reminds me of some kind of delicacy that this colleague told me at work. He said people they take like chicken eggs and where they're just hatching.
Yeah.
And they kind of they eat them where they're like just like newborn, you know. Like, they eat the fetus like that, you know, or it's like like it's not. I don't know. It's grossing me out.
Yeah, that sounds pretty gross, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that.
I was like, what the fuck?
I don't even know if I could do head cheese. I don't even know if I could do like sardines.
Yeah, right.
Sardines are pretty nasty. Buttermilk too is another thing.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what buttermilk is? It's like what's left after making cheese. So it's like this thick ass cream, but it's kind of like chunks in it too. It's I've heard it described as like liquidy cottage cheese.
Oh yeah.
But it's really nasty, I guess. But like I'm saying, people drink it. Like people enjoy it. Like people.
You never know until you try.
Oh man, I don't know about anything like milk based or anything like that. Like that's gonna be pretty nasty.
Yeah, it does. It does sound nasty. Yeah, it sounds like some pretty neat ideas though. Or some skits and stuff.
Hold on, I'm in contact with Cheyenne right now. She's about to call in a little bit. I forgot to mention earlier too that I do a show on the Gway WGWE every Friday night, 11:30 p.m.
The late show?
The night show.
The night show. I know I had to take a chance to take a swing. The night show, hosted by Lewis Snyder on the Gway. WGWE
FM.com.
105.9 FM.
Yeah, on your FM dial. And John Kane does a show too. We broadcast out of John Kane's studio, and you can hear John Kane every Monday and Friday at 9. He streams on Facebook.
Yeah.
He streams on Facebook and ltnradionet.com, and he also posts it up to YouTube after. So yeah, Cheyenne's gonna call in a minute, so we're just gonna wait around for a little bit. But yeah, I'll have her tell the story about Jonathan Stiers, because.
So what I got so far is he was murdered and just like no justice served.
Well, the guy claims that he found him breaking into his pickup truck. So. And shot him with a shotgun twice. And he claims that his training took over or something like that. Because he was in the reserves.
Okay.
The Canadian reserves. But yeah. See, that's mad shady.
Yeah, that's
mad
shady.
Like,
you think the reserves, they really don't have any like post-traumatic stress syndrome, like anything like that, where they would kind of black out or something, you know?
I think it's like 4 weekends a year or something like that they actually train.
Yeah.
And they're not training with pump shotguns either, you know?
Right.
But, yeah. Next week, I don't know who I'm going to have on, but hopefully I'll have a guest on next week. I want to get Terry Jones. I don't know if you know him.
No.
He's from Newtown, and he's made a few movies.
Oh yeah.
And I think his website. I gotta find his website. I have his card somewhere. But hold on, I'll look because I want to promote him real quick. I guess I don't got his card. But if you search for Torn Jersey Media or Corn Soup Man, he made a movie called Corn Soup for My Brother.
Yeah.
Which I think he had his dad in it.
Okay.
Like a lot of local people were in it. And yeah, man, it's good stuff. You know, he's just trying to. I think he had a hand in making that video or the Standing Rock movie.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, is his stuff a little more private? Like, is it his own kind of?
Yes, it's not like a documentary. It's more like storytelling stuff.
Okay.
But it's still pretty good. I forget how he's got a bunch of movies though, and they all kind of have like most of them have kind of like a native theme kind of going on. But yeah, I want to have him on. I want to have Jason on again. Like we were just saying, I want to have Basil on again because you were here with Basil, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the same thing.
For that one.
The same thing happened to us before, where the audio was messed up.
Right.
But it's good now. All right, she's calling in, so. Hello, Cheyenne.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good. I got my friend B Rob in the studio. He's on the line too.
Hey.
So thanks for calling in. I know I had you last week, but we had some audio trouble, but I got it fixed this time. So.
Okay, cool.
Your group is Justice for Jonathan Stiers on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And why don't you tell us I kind of talked about it a little bit, but you know I'm not really too sure on all the details. Why don't you tell us what happened to Jonathan?
So Jonathan was killed by a non-Aboriginal man in Binbrook, Ontario.
Okay.
The man claims that he woke up at 3 in the morning. He looked out his window. He seen his truck light was on, and that he loaded his shotgun with 2 shells, went outside, and in his own words said he entered stealth mode and went to neutralize the threat. The man has a military background. He is a Canadian Army Reserve.
Okay.
So he goes outside, and he says he catches John in his truck. The passenger door lock was punched out, he said, and that the steering column was kind of ripped apart with the wires exposed, and that John was trying to steal his truck. So he says he told him to put his hands up, and on the 911 call, he says he put his hands up. He takes a slight pause and says he put his hands out towards me to gun level. So I shot him. So he tells him to put his hands up, and before he gets a chance to put his hands up, he is shot in the chest, which was a fatal shot to the lung.
Wow.
And then he was shot again in the back as the man stood over him.
Wow.
So the man's name is Peter Cahill. He was found not guilty of second-degree murder by a jury of his peers.
And he's non-native, right?
Yeah, and he's a non-native man. The reason that we kind of hit this breaking point, when this happened, my friend went on Facebook and she was like, I feel like I have to do something. And so my answer to her was, okay, what do you want me to do? Like, what do you need from me? So she kind of just threw us all together. There's a group of about 22 of us that are, I think there's about 6 or 7 of us that are talking regularly. But
Right.
there's a group of 22 of us that are actually took part in the planning of the March on Canada Day in Queen's Park.
That was on the 1st, right?
Yeah, on July 1st.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I played Ava Hill's speech there, and I played your speech earlier.
Yeah.
Can I ask you how recent the incident was?
Hello?
Yep, sorry, what was that?
I just wanted to know how recent the incident was.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you.
He wants to know how recent the incident was. Like, when did this happen?
The shooting was a few years ago. It was 2 years ago, and the verdict was in June.
Okay, yeah.
So he went through his trial in June and was found not guilty.
So he didn't get any charges?
No, he walked completely scot-free. He got nothing.
Wow.
There was no dangerous discharge of a firearm, even though it was in a residential area. Nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. He walked scot-free. Yeah. And the reason that we were so upset about it was because we just come off of the trial for the Bougie case,
right.
The trial for the Tina Fontaine case, the trial for the Cindy Gladue case, and more recently now, a man had not charges dismissed, but he was found with time served. He was found with time served for killing a 2-year-old boy, and what he did was he drove his car through a restaurant window and pinned the little boy against the wall.
Damn.
And because they couldn't prove that he was drunk at the time because he refused a breathalyzer, which in Canada, well, in Ontario especially, but in Canada, if you refuse a breathalyzer, you are automatically charged with driving under the influence.
Yeah, I think that happens here too.
So he was found with time served for 10 months for dangerous driving. And during the time that he had been out of jail, a man that was unrelated to the family, I'm not really sure what the motivation was for this, but a man actually kidnapped him, held him hostage, and cut off his thumb. That man is serving 12 years.
Yeah.
So it's a non-native man who kidnapped a non-native man, cut off his thumb, and is serving 12 years. Well, this non-native man who killed a toddler served 10 months.
Yeah, that's
so
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's not right.
It's to a point now where it almost feels like to us when we walk out the door, we walk out the door with a target on our back, because if you kill a Native person in Canada, you're not going to jail. You're not going to get charged. And if you do get charged, you're not going to get charged with anything that amounts to taking a life.
Right.
We have another case where the court case has just finished. It's actually one of the girls in our group. Her sister was killed by a man from our community, and he was found not guilty of causing her death. Even though he admitted that he hit her, and he left her for dead, he claimed that he hit a deer. He thought he hit a deer, he said. But now he never served jail time for this, nothing, you know, and it's just kind of hitting a breaking point with us where we have to stand up and we have to say something.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of talked about it earlier too. The missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada is like so rampant up there.
Sorry, I can't quite hear you. My baby's playing with something in the background.
I just said the missing and murdered Indigenous women is like so I'd say out of control out there, because it seems like that the Canadian authorities kind of regard Natives as almost a second-class citizens.
Yeah, the problem that we find with that issue is that a lot of times when Native women are reported missing, just Native people in general, when we're reported missing, the authorities don't do what they should do. They don't open an investigation. They don't call Amber Alerts for our kids. It's almost as if they don't care until they find the body, kind of deal. And even then, they don't really do anything about it. And it's not even just a Canadian problem. The reason that Canada is at the forefront of the missing and murdered Indigenous women is because the RCMP released a number after years of families coming forward and saying, we want to know how many women are missing. And they gave us a number of 500. And before the year was up, we had almost 4,000 families come forward saying that, you know, their person was missing or their person was murdered and the police did nothing. So the number was significantly higher than what they actually released to us, but the FBI hasn't done that. And we've been asking the FBI to release that number because the number in the United States is significantly higher than Canada, because the population of the United States is bigger. Like we only make up 4% of the Canadian population, right? Like all of us.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a problem. It needs to be exposed. Like you said, you guys are at the forefront. I think somebody needs to do it here in the States, and I'm so glad that it's, you know, you guys, the women, standing up, because, you know, part of you know, being onwe is, you know, the women are the mothers, they're the life givers. And it's definitely great to see you guys standing up for this.
Yeah, we kind of took the stance that, you know, we're the mothers. I have 3 kids. I have a daughter that's going to be 15 in a few months. I have a son that's 11. I have a baby. Like, I have to think about what is going to happen. Like, my daughter will be leaving for college in 2 years.
Right.
And that's, you know, that when that realization hit, I'm like, I don't know if I can handle that, because I don't know how safe she's going to be when she's not in my home. Right. And I don't know where she is, and I'm not with her or in constant contact with her. And, you know, same with my son. Like, my son will be gone in 6 years to go to college, and it's scary because it's so easy for people to just pull a trigger on a Native person and say, well, I felt like my life was in danger.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, you know, that shouldn't fly, because we don't have a stand your ground law in Canada. We don't have any law in Canada that says it's legal for you to exit your home when you're in danger or feeling that you're in danger and shoot somebody twice. You know what I mean? There's nothing that says you can exit your home, you can shoot somebody in the back because you felt like you were in danger.
Right. Yeah, and it's not just, you know, that. I mean, that's a huge problem, but also, like you were saying in the video I played earlier, you were talking about generational trauma, historical trauma, and that definitely has a lot to do with the stuff going on. Like you said, you being a mother, I'm a father. You know, B. Rob has kids, and you know, it's worried about, you know, drugs too as well. You know,
Yeah.
assaults, all that. And I think that all that
Yeah,
stuff. Go ahead.
Our abuse rates are so much higher because we have that generational trauma. And coming from Six Nations, we're home to the first residential school in Canada.
Right.
So the Mohawk Institute was the first residential school that opened, and it closed in 1970. But you know, between the 1800s and 1970, that saw about half of the population of our children go through that school. And there was periods of time where, you know, it was a good place to be, and the kids got meals and they were treated good. But there was more periods of time where the kids were sexually abused, they were physically abused, they were mutilated. There was medical testing done on these kids. Like, it's insane the amount of abuses that happened. And then those kids, in turn, came home, had kids of their own, and then abused their own kids who felt like that was normal. So they kept up that cycle of abuse, right?
Yeah, and I'd mentioned earlier too that language was lost only in a few generations because of that.
Yeah, within a few generations, the language was completely gone.
What can people do to help for justice for Jonathan Stiers?
So the appeal process has begun. The Crown, from his case, have put in their recommendations for an appeal. That the process is pretty long. So the appeal goes to their boss, who would then approve and send it to their boss, who would then approve and send it to the Attorney General. So what we've been asking people to do, and what we're going to do, is we have a letter on the Justice for Jonathan Stiers Facebook page.
Okay.
So it's Justice for Jonathan Stiers, Six Nations of the Grand River Territory on Facebook.
Right.
And there's a Word document and there's a PDF letter. So you can take that letter, you can email it to the Attorney General. All of the email addresses and everything that you need are in that group. So we're asking people to kind of just flood them with letters rather than signing a petition. Because if they keep seeing that, you know, people are sending in daily rather than us just handing them a petition at the end of the month, I feel like it might have a little bit more significance.
Yeah.
So we have the letters on the group. You can print them off, sign them, mail them in, or you can fax them in or whatever, or you can email them would probably be the easiest. So the email address is there. And there's also a link to the website where you can send your own email if you want to type up your own message to the Attorney General.
Okay.
And the letter, the basic gist of the letter is that we are asserting ourselves as allies to the Crown, and as allies to the Crown, we are supporting this appeal process.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have that link up and stuff too. I'll definitely promote your group. You guys are doing a lot of good work up there.
Thank you.
I'd love to have you on the show again. Update us with anything that happens on the case.
Mm-hmm. I know we were trying to come out for border crossing, but life happens.
When is that?
So I'm not sure how many are going to be able to make it out.
When is that?
That would be Saturday, I believe, is border crossing.
Okay.
Pull your arm out.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I'll definitely be in touch.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, skongay.
All right, hola.
Yeah, so that was Cheyenne Williams. They're doing a lot of good stuff up there in Six Nations.
Yeah, like she said, it's like you come to a breaking point and
you
gotta do something.
Yeah, for real, man. Well, I gotta wrap up this show. Went a little late, but that's all right. Shout out B-Rob, SoundCloud.com. Search for B-Rob. I can't even remember your shit. I had it remembered one time. It's like DSF or B-Rob DSF 2120.
It's Bob Rob 2120 DSF.
Okay, yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. And be sure to check out my YouTube, like and subscribe. And John Kane's show I mentioned earlier, check that out. Check out my Gway show. Just hit me up. All right, peace. Skungate.